Welcome into the TCL broadcast studios. Judd Zolgad, Manny Hill, halftime Vikings vent line, and we'll be brief here, but of course, Manny, plenty to vent about. 14 to
Yeah.
9 Vikings by the grace of God, a 44-yard Hail Mary completion to Kyle Rudolph to end the first half. But that is, I want my money back, and I didn't pay. I mean, there's no other way. This is disgusting.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
the
bad.
Vikings, it's the Lions. I thought the Vikings would give a damn. They barely care. The Lions don't care. This is absolutely fraudulent football. It's terrible. And for the Vikings not to be up by 21 right now, and we'll go through some of the stats, this is a joke.
Yeah, and if you're somebody who's not watching this game and you're just looking at the numbers at the half here with a 14-9 lead for the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins has 165 yards in the first half, passing and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So you're looking at those numbers, and if you haven't been watching the game, you're thinking, oh, no, well, the Vikings are playing all right. They're playing pretty well. No, they did not play well in the first half at all. They were awful Judd, they had 5 yards of total offense in their first 4 possessions.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
were brutal on offense, and then they
Yes.
picked it up. They hit the one deep shot to Thielen, and then they got the touchdown to Diggs, and then Rudolph gets the Hail Mary. The Detroit Lions, Judd, might be the worst team of all time at covering Hail Marys.
The Detroit Lions don't want to be here. Matthew Stafford
No, they
doesn't
don't.
want to play today. This is in that first half as a whole was embarrassing. Thielen and Diggs didn't catch a ball till near the end of the first half.
Yeah.
Cousins looked completely lost. The offensive line looks bad again. I mean, we thought, now I get it. The Detroit defense, in some ways, not entirely, is better than what the Dolphins offer. But my God, you're supposed to be a playoff team here. Play like it. Play
Yeah.
like something that resembles a playoff team. And by the way, the most fraudulent stat of all time, this is such a bleeping joke. Passer rating. I think you just said it, but Kirk Cousins is at 157.9 now or something. He's 10 of 13 for
Yeah.
165 yards. That is a complete joke. If Mike Zimmer, you know what? I'm glad that they got that late TD, because I would go in the locker room and I would say, gentlemen, that was great that we got that late touchdown. Now sit down, shut up. And if anybody says a word, you ain't playing in the second half. You are the biggest embarrassment right now to football that I've seen. Like that's awful. I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad about the Vikings. I'm mad about the Lions. I mean, we have to watch this crap on a Sunday. If I didn't have to watch this right now, I would go to something else.
Yeah, no,
I'd watch a movie or hell, I'd go find Bengals Browns. This is a joke. That was a joke. The Lions gave up touchdowns because they don't care. The Vikings can't do it. I don't know why the Vikings don't care, but they don't seem to care. Like that was a complete joke.
Yeah, it was, and I mean, I'll say the stat again. The first 4 possessions of the game, the Vikings had 5 yards of offense total in 4 possessions. They were averaging at one point. They were averaging 0.4 yards per play.
Yep, they went.
And this was well into the second quarter.
Yep, the first 4 drives. The first drive went 3 plays, 2 yards.
I think they were 3 and out the first 4 drives, right?
Yeah, the second drive went 6 yards in 3 plays. So eureka, you got 6 yards and then you punted. The next drive, you actually went 3 plays for a negative 4 yards. So now you're at what? You're at 4 yards total. And then the next play, you gained 1 yard on 3 plays. And then after that, you came back with back-to-back touchdowns. But, my God, if you were playing a real team today, what would be happening here?
Yeah.
Like
well, they would
you
have.
think you're a playoff team here. You think you're going to go to the playoffs.
If the Detroit Lions were actually good, the Vikings might be down like 28 to 14 and a half right now. I mean, the Lions, you watched what the Lions did offensively in the first half. It was awful. I don't know if Stafford threw a good pass the entire first half.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just the Lions were bad in every facet of the game in the first half, except, defensively they made some plays, and the Vikings, a lot of that too was just bad offense by the Vikings. But yeah, this is a Lions team that is not good at all. And they have pretty much mailed it in on the season. They've checked out on the rest of the season. So they have no interest in winning this game. And yet here you are sort of in this dogfight. And thank the heavens you get a Hail Mary at the end of the first half to go up 14-9. But that was just not a very good half of football.
Yeah, so Thielen right now, Rudolph he leads you 3 targets, 3 catches, including the Hail Mary for 76 yards and the touchdown, which went for 44 yards. Thielen's at 2 targets, 2 catches, 56 yards. Diggs is at 5 targets, 2 catches, 10 yards, and a touchdown. But you need to find ways. Listen, The Thielen catch that went to the 9 that preceded that first touchdown, he was wide open. They completely
Hmm.
lost him. I mean, Moose Johnston was saying it was a double move. I bet it was a double move that he made with no one around him. And then if you saw on the sideline after that drive, Diggs, Thielen, and Cousins were talking, and I think they're basically the Diggs and Thielen are telling him, throw us the damn ball. It's the Detroit
Yeah.
Lions. We'll catch the
We're open.
ball.
Yeah.
Or we'll just catch it. Like Kirk Cousins, come on now. Now, because we can, you know what, we can talk all we want about offensive play calling, and part of that is true. And we can talk all we want about, well, you should change the play caller, which, by the way, a week ago or now a couple weeks ago they did. But this now comes back on Cousins too. Let's see the guy that we saw against Philadelphia. Let's see the guy that we saw against the Packers in week 2. Let's see the guy that we saw against the Rams. Granted, they lost that game, but that guy still made some really big throws. Where is that guy consistently now? And perhaps it's starting to come back, but that is a guy that if you have any hope of going into a first-round playoff game and trying to win, I'm not saying he's got to be perfect, and I'm not even saying that he has to be as good as he was in week 2 against the Packers, but we've got to see a semblance of that guy, just a semblance.
Yeah, and the other thing too is the Vikings had 7 penalties in the first half, mostly on the defensive side.
Rhodes had 3. One was declined because there was an offsetting one, or there was one against Waynes as well.
On the same play, yeah.
And Rhodes, by the way, is no longer getting the calls that he got last year. He was being,
Yeah.
I think they gave him, because when he came into the league, it seemed like he was being flagged a lot, right?
Mhm.
And
A lot
then
of PIs, yeah.
Yeah, and then he seemed to get away with it more and more as he established himself. And I don't know what the crackdown is about.
I think
it looks like we're back to him being called a lot more.
I wonder if that has to do with, because we were talking, me, you, and Collar, we were talking during the game, during the first half, that he's not being matched up with like the elite. He's not getting the elite level matchups like he got last year with like Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, and things like that. So he's going up against guys that aren't quite as good as those guys, and so I think sometimes when a corner is going up against another elite wide receiver, sometimes the officials, they sort of swallow the whistle, or they keep the flag in the back pocket to sort of let them play it out a little bit. So I think that might be part of it. Now he's just not getting.
I also wouldn't be surprised if teams complain too, because these guys offensively and defensively do nothing but watch film, and I could seeing Rhodes spinning around guys in 2017 a lot and being like, okay, let's complain about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he does. I mean, he's very good, but he does have a tendency to get his hands on guys at times. And so I could see a scenario where you had a few teams call in and say, watch 29 on the Vikings, because he's doing illegal stuff a lot.
Doesn't this first half though like just further prove your point that this game is almost loser proof for them?
Yes.
That they could play as awful
Detroit
as they
doesn't
did
care.
in the first half offensively and still be up 14-9 because they're going up against a team that does not give a damn.
Is there any other sport? Now the NBA might come close at times. I don't know for sure, but is there, in your mind, is there any other sport where when you have a bunch of grown men who play a brutal sport, it's an awful sport, and they're like, okay, we're done. We're not playing. We don't like Patricia. Our season's lost. I can't think of a sport where you literally say a game becomes loser proof at this time of year. So like Buffalo is not that game.
Right.
Like Buffalo, it's early on, and they're like, hey, our Josh
still
Allen's
a little motivated.
But around Christmas time, and like the Dolphins last week, I think you just get teams that say, we ain't doing this.
We're done. We're tired of beating our bodies up, and this is
on the Rudolph touchdown. Manny, nobody jumped with them.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Lions have to be like one of the worst teams at covering Hail Marys of all time.
But I don't think they care.
Because I go back to the Packers one a couple of years ago. Like, what are you doing?
I think they cared about that one and screwed up royally. I think on this one, they're just like, no. Somebody might get hurt. Seriously.
There were like 4 Lions standing around Kyle Rudolph, and he's the one that came down with the ball.
And Kyle's a big guy. So in order to break up that, like Kyle didn't jump high. Kyle basically, that looked like the 3rd grade, the bell is rung, we got to do the Hail Mary, right? Like we got to do, okay, Jimmy, you toss the ball, everybody get together, and then, Teddy, who happens to be 5'10", catches the ball. That's what that looked like. The guy didn't jump. No, this game is disgusting, though. I don't want any. I mean, I hope.
I love it. I love how you're just so fired up about how brutal that first half was.
It's a joke. It's awful. It's inexcusable. The Vikings. I mean, I'm sickened by that. But I watch the Lions too, and I'm sickened. I mean, nobody should be paid for this game. No, seriously, the fans should be, you know what they should do? They should reimburse the network and the fans who paid to go and tell every player your game check's gone for this game. Merry Christmas, you bleeping jokes. You're not getting paid.
Happy holidays, Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, these poor people. All right, that's it for our halftime vent line from the TCL Broadcast Studios. Of course, we will be back post-game. If you have a piece of paper, or better yet, your computer out, you can write down the numbers to call as soon as this game ends. 651-646-8255, 651-646-8255, 877-615-1500. Outside the Metro, post-game vent line is when we'll see you next. I'm Judd. He's Manny, TCL Broadcast Studios.